ATX Underground, the show that's anything Austin. My name is Sabrina Ritchie, and I'll be your host for the next hour. Today's guest is Alyne Harding. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, what is the 48-Hour Film Project?
The 48-Hour Film Project is a film race. Teams show up on a Friday night. They get certain elements. They pull a genre out of a hat, and then they have until Sunday night to write, film, edit, and score a 5 to 7 minute film.
Wow.
Yes. And I do happen to have a little graphic here that will explain it a bit more thoroughly.
Oh, very cool. So how'd you get started with the 48-Hour Film Project?
Well, my first experience was in Houston. I had just given birth to my second child, my son, and some friends of mine who I'd been involved in their improv troupe. They had a team, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to participate for the entire time because I had very small children.
Yeah.
But I showed up with my kids and my then husband, and I brainstormed with them and gave them an idea for the basic plot line, and gave them my husband to be their star, and took my kids home, went to sleep. And I always wanted to participate more, and I stayed on the list when I came to Austin. I stayed on the mailing list, and I went to a few of their meet and greets. I found a picture of myself at one of them in 2012, and it's such a bittersweet picture because I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the slideshow from the previous year, and I'm sitting all by myself, and I remember being so very down and lonely, and I want to do this again. And then a year later I was running it. And basically the job opening came up first in 2012, and my life was just way too chaotic at the time. I knew that there was no way that I could handle it. So I very wisely let it go, and then it came up again in 2013. And I thought, I would be an idiot to pass this up. I at least have to try. And I really didn't think I had any chance at it.
Yeah.
I figured there had to be other people who were better equipped. Well, I got the job. And the funny thing is, I met a lot of people who said, I thought about applying for that job, but I thought, there's got to be someone else who's better equipped. And that's when it hit me that, sometimes just showing up is half the battle right there.
Yeah.
I had the guts to go, okay, I will, and I got it. So I've been learning a lot. Kind of got thrown into it from the beginning, not knowing a lot about what I was doing. And every year has been a learning experience, and I'm going to be learning probably for several years to come. If the other city producers have taught me anything, it's you'll get the swing of things about year 4, year 7, year 12.
Of course, it's always a learning
Yes,
experience.
and talking with these people at Filmapalooza, there are times I'm just in awe because they've been doing it for so long. And some of them run several cities.
Yeah.
The Netherlands producer runs like 9 cities across Europe and Asia. And but talking to them, I realized they've had the same challenges that I've had, and so we're all in it together. We're all very much the same, and there's no right or wrong answers. You just you kind of go with your gut and do the best you can with your city. So Austin's an amazing city, and it's different from everywhere else. And,
Definitely is.
Yes.
I moved quite a bit
Yes.
in my time.
So learning how it works and how the people in this town work and how to get them involved and how to get them excited
Yeah.
and how to provide them with the tools that they need to make their project successful. It's a learning experience, and I know more this year than I did last year.
Yep.
So it's exciting.
So you did mention that like you did get down a little bit and like you kind of detached yourself from the film project. So what was your main like determination, your drive to get back into it?
Probably my divorce. I mean, when your whole life is turning itself upside down, you know, you have to go, okay, I've followed all the rules, I've done everything I'm supposed to do, and it's still reeling out of control. I may as well take some risks.
Yeah.
May as well just try to do things for myself, make myself happy, and reach for the stars. You know, you aim for the stars, you might hit the moon, and that's better than being stuck here on Earth. So
Yeah. Like this one saying that I remember hearing, if you see, it like if you're in a pit of despair, and then even if you see the tiniest little thread, like there's nothing stopping you from grabbing it and possibly pulling pulling yourself out of there, like no matter what.
Exactly.
Even if you have that thought of.
Because the only other option is to dig.
Yep.
So, you know, you're either stuck where you are, or you're going to dig, or you're going to take whatever chance to pull yourself out.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was actually all rather miraculous. So.
That's actually quite nice to hear, because like I know like when I was growing up, there's like quite a few kids who will get like depressed or down, and it's like good to hear from somebody else that like even if you're like down in the roughs and like hit rock bottom, like you can still be
gets
successful.
better. Whatever it is, it gets better.
Yep. So I heard that you just came back from somewhere.
Hollywood.
Oh, very fun.
Yes, it was my first time in LA, and it was a blast. I was there for Filmapalooza, which is the annual screening of all of the best film winners from around the world. And we were screening at the Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
How was that?
Oh my, it was amazing. It was so much fun. I think I wound up taking more pictures of the outside of the theater and the candy store and these, you know, great little stairs that you walk down them and they start playing music.
Oh, very cool.
And it's right there. There's this huge mall, and you can see the Hollywood sign, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's almost overwhelming. It was so much fun.
I bet. I would love to visit.
Oh yes, it was great. And I stayed in a little hostel right around the corner, so you know, really got that down and dirty living in Hollywood experience. You know, a lot of the panels and such were taking place in the Hotel Roosevelt, which is where Marilyn Monroe died.
Oh.
So, and it's also where Clark Gable used to rent out their penthouse. They say he would sneak off during lulls in the Academy Awards with whomever his date might be, and have a little assignation in the penthouse and then sneak back. There were apparently secret passages through the hotel under the street and to the theater. So we got to take a look at his penthouse. It was really fun. And get up on the roof of the Hotel Roosevelt. And people kept telling us that it was haunted. We never did run into any ghosts, but we did have a pool party at the Roosevelt pool, which I realized later there was a very famous picture of Marilyn Monroe, like the last picture of her before she died, and the Rat Pack is all hanging out around the pool, and you know, she's standing there next to the pool and everything, and I was like, oh my God.
That's
You know,
awesome.
this is where that happened. So
that'd be so awesome to be in the same spot as Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, and of course I got to, you know, find lots of stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Leonard Nimoy died while I was there. Oh, that was heartbreaking, but I felt honored to be there at that time, and I got to see, you know, firsthand all the fan pictures and letters that were left on his star and that sort of thing. So that was really touching. I'm a lifelong Trekkie, so.
Yeah.
And
did you try putting your hand on any of the
I didn't, and I should have. I got pictures of the signatures, but no, I didn't. I didn't put my hand in there. So, but yeah, it was an awful lot of fun, and I got to see old friends from last year. There were a lot of teams that came back, whether they won or not. They just came for the fun of it, and the winning team this year. I don't remember if they won last year, but they were one of the best films from last year, and they won the top spot this year.
That's awesome.
So that was really cool to see an old friend get that honor. And the neat thing about Filmapalooza is the top 10 films go directly to the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, very
The
cool.
48 is the fastest route to the Cannes Film Festival. And while we're very proud of that, to be sure, and that's a major bragging point, and certainly a big marketing gimmick.
Definitely.
We try not to put the focus on that because really the best thing about the 48-hour film project is the hyper creativity you get from just oh my God, I have to do this, and you make friends and you find out what you're capable of, and it's a personal challenge is the best thing that you get out of the 48-hour film project, and then the friends, it's like being in a foxhole, afterwards you've got all these people that have also participated in it that you've gotten to meet, and they get to be friends for life. There was one team from this last year that I put together or helped put together from people who wanted to be on a team, but they didn't know enough people in town to make a team on their own.
Yeah.
So, and we do have a database on the website where you can sign up to be on a team, and team leaders can look and go, okay, I need a sound guy. Here's someone who can do sound, and call them up. But there wasn't any way for them to interact. So I just invited everyone from that list onto a Facebook group where they could network, and then I invited the team leaders as well. And at least one or two teams came out of that last year, and I'm so proud. This one team especially, they not only, I think they got second place, and they are still producing together today.
That's very awesome.
Yes, so it's like they're kind of my babies. Not that I have favorites, I don't have favorites, but I'm very proud of this particular crowd. So,
what are the films about?
They can be about pretty much anything. The teams are given a genre. They each pull a genre out of a hat, and one of the elements that they're given is a character. Aside from that, they can just let their creativity run wild.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. Yes. Almost makes me want to do something.
Some of the genres we've had in the past are drama, of course, drama, comedy, horror, sci-fi,
Very
buddy
cool.
film, B-movie. Film de femme is a very popular one. Musical Western is probably our least popular, but there are some teams that just get that and run with it, and it's a lot of fun to see what comes out of that.
Who can participate in this 48?
Basically, anyone who's not directly related to me or any of the other city producers around the world. There are no hoops to jump through. The registration cost is under $200, even for the latest fees, and that's per team. You don't have to have any prior experience. We've had people who just read about it in the paper that morning and decided to show up that afternoon, and they'd never made a film before in their lives.
Wow,
So,
that sounds very easy.
Yes. We get a lot of diversity in the results of the show. It's refreshing.
Must be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So when will the 48-hour film project come to Austin?
We are aiming for June 12th through 14th. So we haven't gotten it quite nailed down yet. South by Southwest pops up, and things get a little crazy.
Yeah,
so
takes over everything.
Yes, exactly. So I'm hoping once that's quieted down, we can get the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and actually make it public. But that's what I'm aiming for, is June 12th through 14th, and the screenings would be June 22nd and 23rd. So
At least you won't have to worry about freezing any assets off.
This is true. In fact, having it in the summer, usually it's quite the opposite. In the past, it's been held in August and July, and I've been trying to rein it back to June because it's not quite as terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Is the 48-hour project a nationwide thing?
It is actually global. We are in 120 cities across the world.
Very cool.
Yes, in Paris, I've heard that it is it's a rite of passage for new filmmakers. No one will take you seriously in Paris unless you have done the 48-hour film project. Wow. And that is that's our biggest city. It's, I want to say 178 teams last year, something like that. So it's big in Paris. So.
The fashion, the food,
yes. Oh,
everything
yes.
to enjoy about it.
Yes. And then in the Netherlands, they are starting a new project called the 48-day film project. That one is a little different and it's really exciting. Rather than teams competing for best film, they are collaborating to create a full-length film in only 48 days, from conception to screening.
Wow.
So we get about 3 to 5 teams working together, and it takes about 2 weeks to write it, 3 weeks to film it, 2 weeks for post-production, and the gentleman that is heading that up in the Netherlands, he's trying to get other cities to hop on board, and he may have gotten me to agree to do it here in Austin to screen at South by Southwest next year.
Oh, fun.
What was I thinking?
So, a madhouse in itself on top of madhouse.
Yes, yes. But you know what? I'm looking forward to the challenge. So we'll see if we can get the teams interested, and it's going to be amazing.
I bet. Can't wait to see it.
Me too.
So what do you look for in submissions?
Well, first and foremost, I look for well, okay, first of all, they have to come in on time. For them to be judged, they have to come in on time. Any film in the project that is submitted, even if it's submitted a few days late, although we try to reel that in just because, you know, we have to have them edited in time to be screened.
Yeah.
But within a certain amount of time, even if they're incredibly late, they will still be screened. So I think the latest I took last year was maybe 2 days after the deadline. And a lot of that depends on the theater I'm working with and the editor I'm working with, what they can do. So, you know, it's not anything set in stone. It's just as long as I can get it to the editor in time for it to be screened, then we can accept it, and it will be screened. But they have to be on time to be judged. And as they're coming in, we mark them as to, you know, which ones got there before 7:30. Yeah. And beyond that, I do have to watch the movies, each of the movies. Often I don't have to do that until after the screening, because then I'm just trying to figure out which ones go to the judges. And mainly I look for whether or not they've included those 3 elements. Yeah. So if they've got the line right, and that's usually the one that just gets them every time. Yeah. If they've got the line right, if they actually use the prop, if the character was on screen and well identified, etc., then I will go ahead and send them off to the judges. In some cities, the city producer will choose the ones that they think are best suited. It's kind of up to the producer. I usually leave that up to the professionals. And we've had a good run of judges. Now, you know, this isn't LA. We're not going to get Steven Spielberg to judge our film. We're not going to get the Academy to judge our film. But we've had local film professors and film critics, local film producers, and that sort of thing be our judges, and they've done a fine job. So, you know, as I get more familiar with what comes out, what the results of the project are, I may be able to go through it and go, okay, well, these are the ones that are most likely to be judged, and you know, that way it speeds up the judging process a little bit, because it can take a while for, I mean, these are very busy people. They've all got real jobs in the industry, and so trying to get them to watch and make decisions about the films, it can take several weeks, and we generally want the best of screening to take place about a month after the main screening.
Yeah.
So the faster we can get those results in, the better. And as for what they look for, I still haven't quite figured that out. I think, I mean, they're required to look for the ones that, you know, fit the genre best, that the ones that used the elements best, as well as, okay, who did the best directing, who did the best writing, which one just was the overall best film. And so, but I mean, I haven't always agreed with their choices.
Yeah.
But then that's why I leave it to the professionals.
So have you ever seen a film that you just could not forget, that it's just stuck in your mind and won't go away?
I have my favorites, and then there are some that I wish I could forget. And they were they were usually the horror films.
Yeah.
They were very well done, and that was the problem. You know, they really brought the horror, and I don't ever want to watch them again, but I cannot get them out of my head.
Yeah.
My personal favorite from this last year was called Funeral Cake. It was film noir, and it was just hilarious. And it was not one of the judges' favorites, which
Really?
you know, I didn't understand, but that one was definitely one of my favorites. I was just rolling on the floor. I did like the one that the judges chose as the best film. It was Songbird, and it was a silent film. And it was incredibly clever, and it got a lot of good responses at Filmapalooza. People laughed in the right places, and there was a lot of applause at the end. So.
That's very interesting, a silent film, because like, it's very uncommon nowadays.
That is generally one of our regular genres, is silent film. In fact,
Really?
yes, there's a funny story about a team that once spent a great deal of money on audio equipment. And then they pulled silent film. They had to use the audio equipment as props.
I mean, you would sure hope they would find some use for it, since they spent so much money.
Yes. So we've warned our teams not to put all their eggs in one basket. You know, come with absolutely no expectations whatsoever, and you know, because you have no idea what you're going to pull.
Yeah.
And what the elements are going to be. 2 years ago, the film that won Best Film was called Oviparous. And it wasn't like a flashbang, you know, oh my God, that was a great movie. It was just all across a really solidly good movie. And the thing that I think really caught the judges' attention was, as soon as they realized that the prop was a bucket, they decided to get two identical buckets, and they cut a hole out of the bottom and filmed out of it.
Oh,
so
very cool.
you've got the actors talking to something in the bottom of a bucket, and you don't see what it is until the very end.
Yeah.
So the entire time you're on the edge of your seat going, you know, and then, you know, at the end it's you find out and it's all good. But there are a lot of filmmakers who, even if they get a comedy, you know, or a family movie, they'll still do a horror film, because everybody loves horror. Everybody loves horror.
Yep.
So
one of my favorite subjects.
Yes, and so we, you know, looking at that bucket and trying to figure out what was in the bucket. You know, we're like, is this going to be another one of those surprise horror?
Yeah.
And so that was incredibly clever that they did that. And but speaking of horror, if I can get enough teams registered this year, we have an opportunity to hold another 48-hour film project later this year, a subgenre project, the 48-hour horror film project.
Oh, very exciting.
Yes, so everyone's doing a horror film. Question is, are you doing a vampire film, or a ghost film, or a witch film, or a zombie film? An alien invasion film? You know, I'm really excited about that. In the past, we've had about 40 teams, so I'm really hoping to kick it up a notch this year and open that up.
That would definitely be nice to see all those clashing together.
Yes, 'cause
in
Austin
horror
is
awesomeness.
yes, Austin is the #1 place to be a filmmaker according to Movie Maker magazine. We're #1 this year. We were #1 in 2013. New York and Chicago overtook us for one little tiny year in 2014.
Yeah.
But we took it back. We are the place to be a filmmaker. And I mean, there are so many other cities in the world that have much bigger projects, much bigger 48-hour film projects, and they're more well respected. And you know, I really want Austin to realize what they've got here and take advantage of it, because this could open things up so much more for Austin and really get people's attention. I mean, we could be the new LA, you know? Only better because we're cool and weird.
Yep. And have tons of music options.
That too. Oh my gosh, I would love to be able to introduce local musicians to our filmmakers in such a way that not only gets more original music being used in the films, because that is the one thing that you can use music that's already been produced.
Yeah.
And you can get it online from various royalty-free sites, but it would be really awesome. I mean, we're the live music capital of the world. It would be so awesome if we could have original music in every single one of our films, and I think it would help the the local buskers and kind of small-time musicians here as well.
Yeah.
I know people who are very talented, but they can't get gigs in town because they don't have a demo. They don't know how to get a demo, and I honestly don't know how to tell them to do it, other than okay, hook up a microphone to your laptop, but that's kind of iffy.
Yeah.
So if I can find a way to help the local musicians get a little more notice, that would be really awesome.
That would be very cool.
Yes.
It's like scratch your back, I scratch, you scratch mine.
Right, exactly.
Type of deal.
Exactly, because I overheard at South by Southwest just this weekend, I heard someone say that he was lucky that he was in on the kind of the ground floor of South by, and he was one of those artists that went from being unknown to having a record deal because of South by. And it's harder to do that now because it's gotten so big. So how do you go from nobody knows who you are to getting attention? So yeah, if the 48 can help with that, then that's even better. Helps us, helps them.
Very cool. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to give a special thank you to Alyne Harding for being our guest today.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And please check us out at atxunderground.com. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. So thanks.
God needed 6 days to create this world. I'll take a third of that and give it a whirl. And though Jack Bauer gets more done in only half the time, he doesn't have to incorporate some person, prop, and line. 48 hours isn't much time to compose a hit, but life is short and this short film sure to make the most of it. So it really doesn't matter what you look like, say, or do. I know that I had a cool weekend and the 11th hour doesn't mean the last minute. At that point we're just beginning. At hour 46 we'll burn the DVD. Sit back, relax, the project's rendering. Yeah, it's still rendering. It's rendering. Yeah, it's still rendering. Taking a really long time to render. Is that progress bar moving at all? What the heck do you mean I don't have ATX installed? The stakes are high, the time is short. It's cinema designed as sport. Even we don't win, just ask any of our